Welcome to the Tired Dads Comic Club. I'm tired.
And so am I.
We're both dads, and today we are going to be talking about our favorite spooky reads. At the
Mhm.
time that we are recording this, we are smack dab in the middle of October, which is colloquially known on the internet area as spooky season. We are both dads. We both have families. We're getting ready for Halloween. And when we are not doing that dad part, we're reading books to chill our bones and
Mhm.
getting our cockles and raise our hackles and all of those fun things. We've each brought three of those to talk about. We haven't shared them with each other, and we're just going to kind of bounce off each other what we love about these books. And we'd love to hear from you too, what your favorites are. But before we go over all of that, Carl, how the heck are you?
You know what? I'm doing great. I am ready to be in the spooky season. Finally, the weather has changed, so it's cooler. It feels seasonally appropriate to read something spooky, turn the lights off, and kind of watch creepy stuff on TV. Yeah, I'm ready. I love it. I love the fall. I'm finally. If it's gonna be this season, it needs to be this weather.
I am right there with you. So for putting the curtain back for everyone who was not there, Carl and I live in roughly the same geographic area. We're both kind of in the United States, Midwest, more northern, so we're used to sort of generally fall weather, foliage, leaves coming down,
Mhm.
pumpkins, hay rides, all of that fun stuff. And I'm in exactly the same boat with you. My wife's birthday is the end of September, and we went out to go celebrate her birthday with her. And I had this whole traditional sort of fall family thing planned. I got flannel shirts for myself and the kids. I took her to an apple orchard and we were going to do family photos there. And it's like nothing but green. It's 80 degrees. We go out, we snap a few
Yeah.
pictures under the apples, and we have to like rip these shirts off, and we're just like sweating down our backs. So at the time that we are recording this, October 15th, I don't know about you, but we are finally starting to get some foliage. I have
Yep.
not needed to rake once. It's starting. I'm waking up. It's about 40 degrees. It's still in the afternoon. We're hitting the 60s or so, so it's not quite there yet. But I don't get weird looks when I leave the house in the morning in a light jacket.
Yeah. No. The one thing, the thing about the thing that is tricky about this weather, oh my gosh, is that getting the kids to school, it's the mornings are really cold and then it's
Hmm.
warm by the afternoon. And there were days where it was like 50 in the morning and you need like a light jacket or something. And then it was 80 degrees by the afternoon. Now it's like you need a jacket, you can wear a sweatshirt, everything's good, as it should be.
So to your point on that, so on Fridays I work from home, and I got up in the morning, and it was like 42 degrees. We didn't have a frost or anything like that, but it was dewy, it was chilly, and I was like, oh, all right, finally feeling good. And I do my work down in the basement, which is generally a chillier place. So I put on my Power Rangers sweatshirt. That's kind of some active wear. It's breathable, but it felt good. It felt very comfortable, and I was like, all right, I've been waiting to go on a run with this. This is meant to be sort of running wear. With a pair of joggers. And so I don't go outside until about 2 o'clock when I take my lunch, and I'm like, okay, great. I'm gonna go for a run around the neighborhood with this time. And I figure that what I'm wearing is still going to be appropriate. I figure that we haven't had too much. Again, I haven't left the house, but it was 42 degrees. How much warmer could it have been? So I go out, I put on my running shoes, I keep on my joggers that I had, and then I've got it's got mesh, so it's breathable. It's not like a like really warm sweatshirt, but it is like long sleeve, my Power
Yeah.
Rangers one that I've worn on some different streams. And I go on out and I hit about mile two of a 5.5 mile run. And I have to completely stop and I have to just unzip because I am sweating through my forearms, a place I did not know I could
Yeah.
sweat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just have to like take this thing and tie it around me because I'm like, I will not be able to finish this with this. And that is the quote unquote fall weather that we're having.
Yeah, yeah. That's how it should not be.
Yes.
It should be where it is now, where it's nice and cool, and yeah, everything all is right with the world for sure.
Well,
Kudos on
uh,
the 5 mile run, by the way. That's
what's up?
that's I say kudos on the 5 mile runs. That's nicely
Oh,
done. Yeah.
Thank you. Not to brag,
Oh,
but that was
yeah, but
actually my short run on
yeah, I'm sure.
Saturday. I
Yeah,
did
it's yeah,
uh, I did 7.5. So
yeah.
would have done longer on Friday, but I was restricted with the time that I had. I had to get back to work. So
I don't know, I used to run more, and now it's like, I run. I'm like, oh, where's the Advil? Like, oh my God, this is it's terrible.
yep, and that's your dad moment out there
Yeah.
for you. Before we start on the books, I do have one question that I'm dying to find out
Yeah.
as it relates to our topic. Outside of Halloween candy, what is your favorite fall treat?
Ooh. Okay. So this is the favorite fall treat. It's very specific, but it's these apple cider caramels that my wife makes every year.
Okay.
She made them. I think maybe like in maybe year two after we met, and she made these one year. She's always one. She's very adventurous when it comes to like trying recipes, and she's great
Mm.
in the kitchen. Like she's fearless, like a fearless cook. If I'm following a recipe, no one better talk to me because I can't. I'm like zeroed in. I can't. I don't want the kids' help. I don't. They always want to like, Daddy, can I help? No, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I need to just focus on this. But she's fearless. She'll just like do everything. They can help her. It's like it's very impressive to watch. But yeah. So she made these apple cider caramels, and we gave them to our families and some neighbors and stuff. And now it is people are waiting for them. Like it's like, oh, is she gonna make those apple cider caramels again this year? It's like, yeah, she has to. So yeah, it's an official part of the season now. So it's absolutely my favorite fall treat.
Well, I've never heard of that before, but I would definitely say, please add your co-host to the list of people who are waiting for that because that
Yeah,
sounds delightful and actually like pretty close to what I'm on. So I grew up in Vermont. I'm a New England boy through and through. So I'm right there with you with those apples. Growing up, apple cider donuts and a hot cup of cider were absolutely
yeah,
my go-to. And whenever I am back in New England for the fall, which does not happen enough, unfortunately, that is what I go for. Shout out to Windy Ridge in North Haverhill, New Hampshire. But unfortunately, we don't have anywhere out here that is doing good apple cider donuts, and I refuse to have a bad apple cider donut. I
yeah,
would rather
yeah.
have no apple cider
It's
donut than a bad one. So for me, these days, my go-to fall treat that I am looking forward to is a good caramel apple.
mm,
Just you going out, you see it with the stick right in there. You try and do it off like that, and you're worried your teeth are gonna come off
yeah,
with it. So
yeah.
I do cheat a little bit. I cut mine into slices and then I core it out
That's
so I can just do that.
It's
But
just a responsible way to eat. Yeah, it's just how you do it anymore. Like, and so there's the ones that are like the candied apples.
don't like
Oh,
candy.
I know,
No,
right?
no, the red,
I do
not
not like.
into
We need to
candy
be
apples,
clear on what we're talking
caramel
about here
apples.
because those candy apples are like no, but the caramel apples are great. And what about I've seen somebody they get all fancy and like dip them in like all this different type of stuff, but I'm just like classic. I mean, classic caramel apple, and like I prefer that. I'm not that there's not bad
I
ones, but
like the one that I just had the other night was coated, and this was not fancy by any means. Like this was a spur of the like I was walking by in the grocery store they had a display in the
yeah,
like the produce section. I was like, well, I guess I'll grab that. Um, so it was caramel apple, but it had like little peanut bits.
yeah. That
And
yep,
that I thought was really
that's
nice
good.
because that
Yeah.
gave it like a little bit of a different textural component.
Mhm.
Because the caramel apple, you don't know how long that apple's been there. It's never going to be that perfect crisp apple that you are, when you go through there. It's
Yeah.
always going to be a little bit softer because it's been sitting in there for a little while. It's also cooked when you're adhering that hot caramel to it. So the peanuts give it a little bit of that crunch that it sort of lacks from what it was crisp there before.
Yeah,
Um,
I will allow that. That's good. Yeah, but there's crazy. Some are like rolled in candy and like doesn't need that. Doesn't
nope,
need yeah. So
nope. No, you've never sounded more like a dad than what's with caramel
yeah,
apples these
yeah.
days? Why do they
Heck,
gotta get all fancy?
that's I mean, hey, the shoe fits.
So, with that, that does bring us to our main topic, spooky season, the bone-chilling comics that were part of why we got the Comics Code of Authority in the first place, with things that were deemed too gruesome for general audiences. Thankfully, we are at an era where that is backing off, and we are really kind of going through a renaissance of horror comics. I mean, of the last 10 years, I would say that has been one of the big genres to shoot out. You look at some of the biggest comics that have come out through there. I can point to right there, Immortal Hulk, one of the most acclaimed mainstream comic runs that's out there, is typically looked at as a big two horror book. Maybe the biggest indie book that's out there right now, Something is Killing the Children, is primarily classified as a horror comic. Horror comics are absolutely having their time, and we want to celebrate them. So, as we do with these things, we have each brought three comics to bear. We have not shared with each other. There is a chance that we have chosen at least one of the same ones. I will say I would be shocked if you've even heard of at least two of them, and I don't think the third one, you're on
That's
that wavelength. But really, just a time for us to kind of go out and be like, "Hey, man, I like these comics, and let's talk about them."
yeah.
So, Carl, I do see that Halloween poster behind you over your left shoulder.
All right.
So I will let you go ahead and have the floor first. What have you brought to share with us?
All right. So, a little preface. I have not traditionally have not really read a lot of horror comic books. It's not necessarily what my go-to genre. But as I've kind of come back into comics in the past couple of years, and with that resurgence of horror comics, I've read some. There's a lot that I still haven't. Like Something is Killing the Children. I've not gotten into that. I know that that's like out there, and because is House of Slaughter, is that a separate? Is that
It's a spin-off.
an off
So
spinoff of yeah.
yeah, so it's in the same world. It's not the same writer, so it's set within the same world. It's set before the events, and it's
Oh,
basically like the main character is a side character in that when she was a small kid, and it's about the
okay.
order that kind of raises her and everything that happens with that.
Okay. So yeah, so that blind spot. Don't know much about that one. But the writer is someone that I quite enjoy. And I've not read a lot of his things, but it's James Tynion and the fourth. I mean, I've read the Turtles and Batman book, but by James Tynion, but not a horror comic. But yeah, so this premise got me right from the right when I heard it revealed, I was waiting for this one to come out, and it's The Deviant.
Oh, that is not where I thought you were going with that.
Now, which one where did you think I was going? Do you
I
have any idea?
I 100% thought you were going to go with Nice House on the Lake.
Yeah, that's
Talking
another
about,
one. Yeah, another one that I have not
but
read.
I do recall now from your from your series that you do talking
Yeah.
about the different pull list stuff that you were on Deviant and you did really like that one.
Yeah, it was one that yeah, it got a little derailed with the release schedule, but now I think there's two volumes that are out in trade, and it's a 10 or 9 issue series. It was supposed to be 8, and then I got bumped to I think 9, and but I'm waiting for there to be a hardcover collected edition for just the whole thing because I don't really want. I have all the singles. I don't want to buy two trades, but anyway. Um, so the premise is it got me with like the Christmas horror because it's a Christmas horror story, and every year when you think about like the first Halloween-ish movie to watch, it's like the kids always want to watch Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's like, wow, is that should we wait because that's like you want to watch it
That's
closer to
always that
Halloween,
classic
and
question
then
of
is it
is it a Christmas movie or is it a Halloween movie?
right? Yeah, so I try to like hold them off and say like let's watch it closer to Halloween, so then it's like a kickoff into the
This
but
we got a Waterloo sighting.
yeah, yeah,
The
so.
the blackberry lemonade is an absolute favorite of mine. Is that from the Costco pack?
Yeah, so yeah, when you I saw you drinking them one time when you talked about the Costco. I was like, oh, I'll try them out. Yeah, they're awesome. I
So
really like.
we were out. We hadn't done a Costco run for a while, and we go through seltzer water like nobody's business. And it got to
Yeah,
the point that we're like, all right, like we got to do something. So I just went out to the store and got some. And when you're not just getting the Costco, you got to get some of the other flavors. So grabbed orange vanilla, and then my absolute favorite, which is grape, which is their grape is great. It tastes like grape soda just without the sugar, which sounds weird and it kind of tricks your brain, but it still
yeah.
hits exactly that same
If
spot.
it works, that's great.
Like
Yeah.
when it's
So
super cold, it's just like so refreshing.
I've not sure what I was
You're
talking about, but
the
so
Christmas
the
horror
oh yeah
you
yeah
were talking
yeah
and the whole thing about the kids wanting to watch Nightmare
yeah
Nightmare Before Christmas and where is it going in?
right. so like every year they want to watch it right away, and I kind of hold them off, and then we ended up watching it multiple times throughout the season anyway. So whatever. Point being, I like that. I like there's something about there's something inherently kind of somber, and there's a darker side of the holiday season, and I like when properties or things explore that kind of, because it's not a happy time for everyone. It's sometimes there's, it's just this you never know, like the lost family, thinking about, alone on the holidays, whatever it may be. It's not a happy time for everyone, and I like when stories kind of explore that side of it. Now this is like a horror,
Not
murderers and
how
like
not how
not
your
like,
guys'
yeah,
Christmas
yeah, no, no,
vacations are
yeah.
going.
No, so the premise is there's it sets it off in the 70s. There was a string of brutal killings. There was it's a gruesome book now. So there were two boys that were murdered. They were strung up. There's some really detailed graphic art in this that's like very unnerving, and it's unsettling. And I feel like, that's not always something that I gravitate towards, but in service of the story, it definitely is shocking, and it sets the tone of like, oh, this is terrible. Um,
Speaking of
because
that art, who
right,
is the
yep,
art on that?
it's
Because we
it's
know Tynan's the writer, but
absolutely. It's a Joshua Hickson. So
okay.
yeah, so
And colorist on that?
he did as well. He
Oh, he's
did
doing
the
both.
yeah,
Very
he
nice.
did the colors and the art on that. And lettering is uh Hassan
Oh,
Atsameh.
Hassan
Yeah,
Otsmain El
Atsameh
How.
Al
Yeah,
How. Yeah.
he I think he does the most expressive lettering
Yeah.
that's out there. And like honestly, I feel like he's got a really good nose for what good properties are. Like at a glance, it sounds weird, but even if I don't know the writer or artist on a book, if I see his name on there, I'm like, this is probably going to be pretty good. Just because I think he's got a good nose for like the projects that he goes on to, and also I think his lettering is unique in that I think it adds like he does a lot of sort of like hand drawing the boxes, and he does it in such a way to sort of like add emotion to it, but I think it's not so over the top that it takes away from the art.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
it makes sense that on a horror book he would be there, given that like so much of that prose that you're reading is supposed to be what's kind of, raising the hairs in the back of your neck.
but the idea is that you learn about these murders. There is someone that is arrested. They feel like they've solved the murders, and he's put away. Then it picks up in, present day, which is like 2023, something like that. And there is a writer, a comic book writer, who is interviewing the person that was arrested and put in prison for the murders. And he's creating a book. He grew up near where this person is. So the characters are Michael is the main character, is the writer, and Randall is the person who was arrested for the killing. And the big question is he innocent? Is he guilty? And the back and forth. Have you read this? Have you read the
I
series
have
at all?
not.
Okay,
I have
so
not. I really know about it basically from you talking about it on your weekly series.
there are some very bunk scenes in this book where it's just two dudes sitting in a prison talking to each other. It's just there's like, like I can show you. I would just open the book, and it's 2 pages of just
Oh
two
yeah, yeah,
guys
that's a
sitting
bunk
in.
page right there. He's got a
Yeah.
cigarette. He's looking. He's got different
Yep.
facial expressions, but it's just going.
But
That's it. I want that right
so
there.
then but so then you get
And of
those.
course, it's in Milwaukee because yeah, yeah. Is
But
is the comic writer? Is he also gay? Did he attend Sarah Lawrence College?
he's gay, and
Yep, yep,
it's
yep,
his
yeah.
yeah.
Tynan has to, like, he can't help himself. He has to write himself. Like one of the characters is going to be him in there.
Yeah, so more on that in a second. I just wanted to show you like one other thing. So like so that's the spread I showed you. The next
Mhm.
page, more of the same. So
I thought you were going to be like, so it's paced really well. So like you'll have these, and then you like turn the page, and it's like a
no,
bunch of action and going there. It's like, nope, it's
no,
more talking. Which
there's a
again, you're
lot of
speaking my
talking.
language right
Yeah,
there.
but it's all about. So the thing that the hook that really got me was it's so Michael, the not James Tynan. uh, he learned about his sexuality. He learned about that there were what what homosexuals were based on these killings because the Randall is also a gay man, and uh, they basically when he there's the flashbacks of when Michael was a child, and they you hear the term actually for me too. Like when I first heard the term like a sexual deviant, like back in the day, that was like it was like a label that was thrown around. I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's the idea that there are many gay men who learn about their identity by hearing it referred to as deviant, like a
Mm.
deviant behavior, and so then the book to call the book the deviant. I really I feel like it's not just a self-insert to put himself into the book. I think it's an interesting thing to think about because I never framed it that way. Like I never thought about that. Like oh, like to learn about your own identity, your sexual identity, as in it's framed in a way of it being like a crime. Because whenever you heard that, it was back in the news, and it was like usually for not good reasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no one's been like, yeah, yeah, deviant. Like that's, like until you reclaim that, it's like, oh, a deviant, aberrant behavior. It's,
yeah, it's so
it's yeah, frowned upon. It's your 6 o'clock evening news. Sexual deviance found at a local park.
yeah, and that's what. So to learn about that as if it being a wrong thing or a bad thing, what does that do to somebody? And I just think that's really interesting. I think that's a really interesting way to approach this. And so then it's Michael, uh, you know, was very he grew up very intrigued by this case.
So you've talked a little bit about the sort of the premise behind it, the characters, and what set this up. Talk to me a little bit about what makes this book like truly spooky.
Yep.
Is it the environment? Is it the atmosphere? Is it some of the visceral images that you see on the page? Like what is it about this book that's doing that?
So definitely the visceral images that gives you that is very disturbing. And
Now,
but
without spoiling it, you
Mhm.
mentioned the ones that sort of set this up at the beginning of the two boys. How how much throughout the series do we continue to get that? Is it a
Yes.
frequent occur? Okay.
So so basically what happens is once Michael starts interviewing Randall, and by the end of the first issue, the deviant killer has resumed killings. So there was the killer that was back in the 70s, and then now the murders resume. And there was a I want to show you it's not I mean he's on covers and stuff, but the design of the deviant killer is very creepy Santa Claus mask. And here's like the the reveal of the
Yeah. Yeah, that's one Krampus I'm not trying to mess
so
with.
yeah, very creepy. And even like the first issue there's multiple murders that occur, and there are some I'm trying to think. There are murders that happen throughout the series, but and usually in a very disturbing way. But some of them are just like that. I don't think I remember in reading it. None of them were as unnerving as that initial like the two boys strung up
Mm.
because that's kind of what it all. That's what you need to see that to understand what you're dealing with as far as what the murders are. But yeah, that's but it's really it's yeah. So the art, it's the psychology of it. It's the question is, so was Randall was he guilty of these murders? Was who is doing the murders again? Like in the present day, because then people start since there's this guy Michael who's very interested in these killings. Like, well, are you interviewing this person because you yourself are wanted to be like a copycat killer? Like what's the story there? So yeah, I think it's a really interesting read all throughout. Reading it all together, I think will be really, really helpful, especially with like the murder mystery aspect of it.
Now, speaking of reading it all together, obviously we're trying to make this spoiler free for the
Hmm.
most part. The
Yeah.
idea is that these are books we love and we would love to share them with you, the audience. We want you to go in and have as sort of fresh an experience as possible. So, some of this is obviously being coy, but I do wonder, you said it was originally supposed to be eight, they lengthened it out to nine. How many of the things that you're bringing up now do we have definitive answers to at the end? By the end of it, do we know who the original was? Do we know who the current is? How much, does it leave it open that there could be more down the road?
Um,
How much can you tell us without spoiling it, basically?
I can say that some questions are answered, some questions are not answered. And I actually really loved that about the series because it's not just this convenient wrap it all up and there you go. There's some um, there's some ambiguity in who is guilty of these murders. I thought that was rewarding for a reader to not have it be so clear cut. There's interpretation. There's, as you read, there's a lot of talking, a lot of dialogue, a lot of those scenes. So you, as the reader, are deciding so all throughout the at first, because Randall plays very coy with Michael because he's in prison. He has nothing else to do other than people are interested in his story. So he just is kind of messing with whoever wants to talk to him. So he gets letters. He enjoys that. From people writing in that are fascinated with serial killers, and so he enjoys that notoriety, even though he proclaims to be innocent.
Do you feel like the story is then complete where it's at? Or do you think that we'll get the deviant to the devianting now even more deviant?
Even devianter.
Yeah.
um, I actually hope. I think this could be a complete story. I think it could go either way. You could
Okay.
explore more things, but I like the way it stands. I don't think it needs more, but it could.
Okay.
There could be more to it.
Okay. All right. So the kind of thing that if, you said you're kind of waiting on the hardcover a little bit, if they put all of these out in like one nice package, you think that's it. Like you're not like, well, I'm gonna wait and see what else is going there.
Yeah, no, I think that would
Okay.
be. I think they would. I would imagine they would do like a deluxe hardcover type thing, and I'd pick that up, and I'd be very happy with.
Okay.
If they don't touch the property again, I would be fine.
Last question on this one. Who is the deviant for? What kind of comic reader is going to find enjoyment in this?
Um, it's a good question. I think if you're okay with Bunk, you would enjoy this. Yeah, if you're okay with a lot of dialogue, with a lot of it's dialogue heavy, it's psychology. It's not the bits of action. There's really not a lot of action in it. A lot of times you see
You're
the
selling it on me.
yeah, you see the after effects of the murders. You see there's some very moody, creepy. You see the killer shows up and then cuts away, and then you know that there was a murder that occurred there. But there are their action picks up in certain parts of the series, but it's largely a moody, psychological, creepy story that has a lot of Christmas vibes because it all happens around Christmas. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book. And the idea that it explores identity and in a very in like a meaningful way, I think that's really cool.
While you were reading it, did you catch yourself going, "This is Halloween, this is Halloween, Halloween,
I was like,
Halloween"?
I can't wait to share this one with the kids. Like, oh, you want to watch Nightmare Before Christmas? How about this book? But no, yeah.
All right, very cool. Well, thanks for starting us off with that.
What are you kicking off with?
So I went into this with the idea that I if someone has somehow found our channel, I think that there's a certain amount of horror knowledge that they have going into this. So, for instance, if you're watching this, you probably don't need me to tell you, hey, if you like horror comics, if you like body horror things, you know what you should read? Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. That's real good. Like, even if you haven't read it, you know that by reputation. You don't need me to tell you that. Same thing from from Hell that he did about the Jack the Ripper killers. I mentioned before Immortal Hulk there. So I went into this trying to shy away from sort of those obvious ones because I think kind of my thing here is to like go a little deeper.
Yeah.
This is going to be my most obvious choice, but I love this book, and I didn't want to not talk about it. And I think this is going to be the one on here that you will. I don't know that you've read this, but I bet you've at least heard about it. And that
Sure.
is Harrow County. Have you read this book?
Have not read it, but I have heard of it.
Okay. So, like I said, this is one that I think if you're watching this, you probably at least heard of it. So this is going to be coming to us from the team of Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook, and it is basically Southern Gothic horror with a mystical vibe to it. I mean, all you need to do is look at so I have the the big slipcase edition of all of it in
Yeah.
that's kind of absolute size. So you look at this and you're like, well, that's weird. That doesn't look very scary.
Yeah.
But you may notice that the actual book itself is an end table. And when you
Uh,
pull it out, what do you find in there?
oh,
Oh, that's horrifying. That's the skin of a little boy. So the whole idea of this book is that basically in this southern small town, that is set in Harrow County, there was a witch that was there that basically, I'm not going to say ruled this county, but everything went through her. She mostly wanted to be left alone, but people would come to her with things and she would provide, but there was always a cost. One of the times the cost was a little bit too high for people, and they, as people do in ye olden times, put her to the stake and burned her. And she let them know that she would not be gone forever. And then we flash forward to sort of our modern times, where we have our main character, and I'm really bad with names. So Carl
I,
gave you the names. I will not be giving you
I
any names.
I had to look them up again because I am the same way. I'm terrible
Yeah.
with names.
So right there, I believe her name is Emmy. Um, she is a young girl, kind of coming into her own. Believe she's about to have her 18th birthday, and she's got she's got some weird things going on. And in the woods specifically, they call to her, and she can't quite know why. And this is one that I don't want to. I'm careful about spoilers here,
Yeah, yeah.
but it is you're going to get a lot of sort of mystical horror, fell forces. Emmy, not surprisingly, has some kind of connection to the witch that was that was killed. Um, the it's not particularly a spoiler because you get to see on there one of the first things that she finds is in these thorns. There's something that's there. She pulls it out, and it is the skin, just the skin of a young boy,
Ooh.
and it speaks to her and warns her of the impending danger that comes because, well, the townsfolk, before she knew herself, started to have some ideas about her. And, well, that skin may be attached to someone who's missing it.
Mm.
And really, what comes to it from this is you get a lot of world building. You go kind of through stages that you're going to see here. Turns out she may not be the only one who's connected to the powers of this witch. You get this sort of low rural, a Southern Gothic horror vibe that connects to these much greater forces. And all the while, you get this just beautiful hand painted Tyler Crook art. Like, I mean, just I adore Tyler Crook.
Wow.
All of
Yes.
these pages, all of these are hand painted.
Yeah.
Every single thing he's done here.
Is that
This,
is that how he typically draws? Like, is he?
yeah,
That's
he's
his.
he's a painter.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Wow.
that's our
That's
skinless boy that we
yeah.
see there, who is ends up being her familiar. It goes for 32 issues, and it goes in places that you would not expect it. I mean, this could very much have been sort of a simple local witch versus the townspeople. They're scared of what they don't know. It evolves a lot more to that.
Yeah.
The initial witch hunt that happens there kind of dies out, but like I said, there are other there are other beings that are connected to this power, both directly and then indirectly, that start to come out. The world is more fleshed out. We see the magic is beyond just sort of what we know. And like I said, magic has a cost, and we get to see all of that in there. It's, I would say this book is very tonally creepy. I would not say this is like an out and out horror book. In the same way that The Deviant is, where so much of it is sort of the the feelings that you have, the idea that you're sort of pulling out the skin of this boy and you're seeing this thing, that you find this woods witch who's going out and she's finding, I mean, like, for instance, we have these flaming skeletons that are there that on their own, like, you look at that and as an image, I'm not super terrified of that, but the motif, we get the dark grays of the wood, we get the graves that are going there, the girls that are going, we get the beautiful red set against that, the gnarled twisting wood.
Yeah.
It gives this very element of foreboding and gloom and does some really, really cool world building. Uh, and yeah, I tend to really like sort of atmospheric horror more than just you're reading and this scary thing, like this is a scary image. I tend to like more sort of the general environment. Like my favorite horror movies are The Thing and Alien. Like I like
Yeah.
that claustrophobic alien feel. I mean, just like look at this page spread right there where he's coming down,
Yeah.
he's doing that. It would be awesome to have like those pages blown up. I mean, like this is already huge, but if you could get them even bigger, like
That'd be
wouldn't that be
big.
awesome? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Is there a way that could you could do that?
Probably not. I mean, that
Yeah.
seems
I mean,
highly impractical.
yeah. I like where this is going.
Like, I don't know, like that seems like really nice
Oh
and
yeah.
big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
that
like that.
that's I mean, these paintings are so beautiful. I want them like this size.
Yeah. All of them. You need all of them.
Oh
All the
yeah,
pages
yeah.
that size.
Like,
Yeah.
and then like sometimes you look at that and you're like, well, that's cool, but I'd love to see more of the process. And so then you look and you like you get the pencils on the one side, and then you get like the
Yeah.
actual paintings on the other.
Very cool. Yeah. One thing that jumps out, I love those yellow eyes of the skinless boy. Like
Yeah.
the muscle tone of all the stuff underneath there and then like set against the yellow eyes. That's awesome. That's a really creepy looking character, but I
Well, and
enjoy
then
it.
also just as sort of like the way his character is designed, the skin can actually talk to her, but
Oh,
it can't move because it's a set of skin. But the
yeah.
actual skinless boy can move about and can go through different places and actually ends up becoming her familiar, in the same way that, you think of like a traditional wizard has like a bird or an owl or something like that.
Yeah.
Like this is her sort of space in the world, her force that sees her through it. This is I At this point I think this is sort of a almost like a modern horror classic. You'll see it propping up on a lot of different lists that are going through here. I don't know that it's Cullen Bunn's best work that he's done, but for me it's certainly up there. Like Cullen Bunn is a guy who doesn't sleep. He constantly is cranking out book after book after book, and most of his stuff I find to be very good. I think he's a very good writer, and he's just like consistently hitting for sort of singles and doubles. And no knock to him, but I think just because of sort of the way that he writes, it uh, finding like a real home run series that he does is a little bit rare because he
Sure.
does so much. He's an Ichiro
Yeah.
type, like
Yeah.
he's
Yep.
not necessarily swinging for the fences, but he's still making the Hall of Fame off of what he does. This is one of those books that I think for him is absolutely a home run. I think just between the setting, the characters, just the general sense of gloom and foreboding that he's able to get without really relying on shocking imagery, but just
Yeah.
the general tone, I think he does really, really well. And again, the way that he builds out the world and you get to see it expand through there. In the 32 issues that make it up, you go on a ride.
Is that have a like a wrap it up nicely? Like this is the set story. Does it feel like was it an ongoing that then just got canceled or stopped, or
It,
you
it
felt like
was
this
it,
was the story that was
it was ongoing through 32 issues. Like
okay?
it,
So
they
his
decided that they were going to wrap it up.
they had the
The
opportunity to
main story that makes that up is completed. It's not
okay,
like
yeah,
walked away from. However, they have continued to go back from time to time to that world, um, in story like set aside from there, in World of Harry stories.
okay,
So, and sometimes it's not the two of them that are working on that. Tyler Crook, for instance, the artist, he got to tell his first story within that world in one of those side stories that's going on there. So they did so much work with the world that it's almost like a shame to leave it aside from there, but you don't want to take away from what that main story was. So that's the way they've been continuing to sort of go back to that.
nice. And I take it like that it's not just about the witch and the boy. Like there's other supernatural type things that are going on. I would imagine after 32 issues that were it expands beyond that,
It
like you said,
expands
like
beyond
the
the physical world. We see
yeah
forces beyond sort of the physical there. Um, Maybe it's not just that one girl who has access and taps into the forces of that particular witch. Maybe there are others that are there, and there are others who claim for that particular power. So
okay
yeah, if it was literally
yeah.
just that the one girl and hers, it would be a
It
pretty
would
boring
be,
story. It
yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like,
that's how I had to assume like there has to be more
yeah.
like that. It just kind of expands beyond that, and yeah. So
Also, there's the town itself. There's a really sort of fun, interesting twist that happens with that kind of makes you rethink, like, oh, oh, that, yeah, there's a lot of twists here, but nothing in the way of just sort of like shock for shock's value. But like there's a lot of clever, interesting things that have happened with that. So this is one, as far as who I would recommend this for, I I honestly can't think of anyone I wouldn't recommend this
yeah,
for.
like it's
It's not overly gory. It's beautifully painted. It moves along at a nice clip. I think this is one that you could pretty much give to anyone and, say like, get ready for a ride.
yeah. Cool. And I love that there's a meaty enough 32 issues is enough to kind of explore
Yep.
things and then but it's also not a huge commitment at all if you want to read the story. So
Yeah, and
that's appealing.
they also there's a number of different ways to read it. So, if you
It's
want this big, oversized edition, obviously you can go and get that. If you're like, I want to read it, but I don't want to do that, it's in trades. You can get it in what they call the omnibus editions, which are two 16-issue versions of it. They just came out with a compendium if you want
yeah.
to read it in paperback, but you want it just all in one thing. There's so many ways to access this book now. It's on Hoopla. It, you know,
Yeah.
if this is something that you're interested in and you want to check it out, it is very available for you, and it's going to give you back as much as you want to put into it.
Cool. I like that. I mean, the idea that the painting has me sold. Like I love and the painting doesn't look creepy and it doesn't look like I like that it's still like bright, vibrant colors. And it's not moody in the sense of it being darker tones. I mean, that is present, but I like that the colors are still popping off of there. It's not like a very
It
spooky vibe. Spooky
Oh, it
like
you he uses color really well. So all of
yeah.
that is, he's painting there. So there are definitely some scenes
Yeah, yeah.
where, you're set sort of down in and it's dark. Usually he does like to work with some kind of contrast, so there'll be some kind of light source that's coming through that. So it's not always going to be like the big bright skeletons against that.
Yeah, yeah.
You will get some sort of like, ooh, it's dark and ooky down here.
Which, makes sense. Like that would be that, but I like that it's not. It's like I mean, again, like maybe just been the one example that I saw of like, oh, those skeletons, like bright, colorful skeletons. But I like that that's there. That option is it's a nice variety of colors and stuff. So
Yeah.
I
So that's
like it.
Harrow County.
I like it. Am I going to add? I have to add that to the list then too. The ever
I
expanding list of things to read. So
I mean, that's it's a good problem to have, is that there are
Yeah,
more comics you want to read.
yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
Beats the alternative quite a bit.
I saw this is very seasonally appropriate. I saw a shirt on you ever go to like the out of print? They do like they're t-shirts that are like book covers that are the t-shirts. And there was a Lemony Snicket one that just
Okay.
said like I will likely die surrounded by a stack of things I meant to read. Like it's like
I haven't seen that, but
it, I can relate. I was like,
fair,
maybe I should
fair.
get that shirt. Yeah, yeah. So, sweet. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking to go even more obscure than if that was like the one that I may have heard of. Yeah, I can't wait to see what's
Oh
next.
yeah,
So,
that's um I would bet that you personally have not heard
yeah,
of my next two. And I will say that most of our audience has not heard of the next one, and I would say that none of our audience has heard of the last one.
we
But
will.
we'll come to those in due time because right now it is time for your second book. What you
Yeah,
got for us?
so before I do that, I meant to you pulling out the portfolio got me thinking. I actually set aside something that
Do you
from
have some deviant pages?
I do. I have one. I have one Deviant page, and it's one that
Is this going to be a spoiler if we show
it is
this here?
not. It is not.
Okay.
It is actually the introduction to Michael in the series, and it's you got it sets the tone of Christmas. There's the Santa Claus, but the kids crying. You got the the mall photographer there, and then you get back here, and then it just kind of it's on this side. This is Michael,
Hmm.
and he's surrounded by all the holiday cheer, and he's just clearly in his own head, and he's dealing with some issues. But it just I like that you move from the jovial Christmas stuff, and the colors in this part of the book are very 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 bright, vibrant, happy, Christmassy, and then it moves and kind of progresses down into as we get closer into inside Michael's thoughts and yeah. So
Very
I like
nice.
that one. Yeah, there was some creepy stuff that I would never touch. But this, you could put this on the wall, like, and it'd be like, oh, it's just like it's like a Christmassy type thing. It's not nothing too shocking or alarming on that page.
Those inks are super clean, by the way. Whoever's doing the
Yeah,
line work on that, like really like nice, clean
it's
and crisp
so
lines.
it's Hickson. So he does his like digital layouts, and then he inks over like a blue line.
Hmm.
So yeah, so he does all the art. So it's pencils and then pencils digitally, inks on here, and then colors it himself. So yeah, one man show on the art in that one. So
Nice.
all right. So yeah, I don't have art from this next book, but maybe I
I
have
do
more
not have
art
art
from
from either. Well,
yeah.
I
So
kind of do
it's
on the
something
last
like
one, but
such
that doesn't count.
like all right. So this one, I'm not sure. This one might be on your radar, might not have. But a couple years ago, Scott Snyder did when Amazon did their like acquiring of Comixology, and they want to do
Mhm.
their own
Yep,
Amazon
he had a whole
originals.
bunch of the different series.
Yep, there was
Common
the
Craft did a lot of the lettering on those
yep,
particular series. And then Dark Horse did some printing on them. They did
yep,
some Prime originals. Yep.
yep, and then it all went away because yeah. But yeah, so there was he did a We Have Demons, which was a creator owned with
Hmm.
Greg Capullo. So naturally, that was one that I was very interested in. And but then this one was one that really surprised me, and it didn't surprise me in the sense of that once I saw the artists involved. Uh, and actually, there's a spoiler on this. Not a
Can
spoiler,
I
but
can I
there's a hint.
guess before you show it?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is it clear?
It's not clear.
It's
Yeah.
not clear. Okay.
So the spoiler is you are looking at art from the artist of this book on the screen currently.
Okay.
The Halloween
There,
the
I was gonna say
Halloween
there's a
poster.
lot of artists
Yeah,
on
like
this screen.
so this the Halloween poster and the Frankenstein poster. So that's Francisco Francavilla.
Okay.
So he did a series of Mondo posters and has done comics work. He worked
Mhm.
with Scott Snyder in the Black Mirror, and they did a book called Night of the Ghoul
Okay,
for
this is
Amazon.
not one that I remember from this.
Okay, cool. All right, so there we go. I know you're not a huge fan of like the Universal monster type things, but what this is, you open up, it's a father and a son, and there you go.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm done. Let's do this. This is great. They are visiting they're driving out in the middle of nowhere. They arrive at this kind of like nursing home type thing. They want to talk to the one resident of this nursing home, and it's very moody and creepy art. But I don't know, yeah, maybe not the with the light with the shining on there. But um, I love his style. And what the premise of the book is there was a long lost uh, classic horror type movie that was made in I think it was like the 40s, the 30s or 40s was when this book or when the movie was made. But it was lost to a fire. While as they were filming this movie, there was a fire broke out in the studio. All the the film the back half of the movie was lost. There's reels of the film that were burned up in the studio fire. And there's this guy who's the guy with his son. He's an archivist. He's the one who is digitizing all of the films at a studio, and he comes across this movie called Night of the Ghoul, and he's fascinated by it, but he can't find the end of it. So he seeks out the director, and the person at the that nursing home is the director of the movie. And there's the thing about this book is there's multiple time frames going on because you have the events of the present day where they're visiting the director in his current state. You see the movie
But like on set, like the
on
actors filming it, and then like cut, and you
you,
see them like,
you actually
nope,
it's nope you actually it's
okay,
presented as the story itself, and actually it starts off with a nice like the beginning of Frankenstein where like they come out and it's like, oh, this is this movie will terrify you, but then it's this is the beginning of the movie, and then it cuts into like World War I is the
okay,
setting of the film, and you learn about it's interspliced with the movie events, and the movie is about this ghoul. It's this monster that the idea of the movie was that it was the monster that created all of the other myths for the monsters, be it vampires, werewolves. It was the dark force that kind of spawned all these stories. And this movie was lost to the time, so he wants to try to. And again, I don't want to. It's like he always had to dance around. How much can I tell you? How much should I
right.
not tell you? And you see like the ghoul in the movie, and then it real life may mirror the plot of the movie. So the ghoul may have been a real thing, and
Okay.
that's what the director is saying. Like you have to get out of here. They're going to release the ghoul, and yeah. So it's I don't know. For me, the art in this one is it's again it's the moody tone setting that I love the vibe of the whole thing that you get when you read it. I also love that it kind of harkens back to that classic Universal era
Mhm.
of monster movies, and and at the core, it's a father and a son story because one thing that I think speaks true is the relationship between fathers and sons are a complicated thing, and they are a complicated thing as the more you go through life. And in this book, they're at each other's throats. They're the parents are going through a divorce. The son and the father are at odds. They're trying to. The father wanted to go back and have this, come with me. Let's go meet this director. We'll kind of have a bonding experience. And the kid just kind of wants nothing to do with his dad. But secretly, the kid is very much invested. He has been researching this stuff as well without the knowledge of his father. So they have parallel interests, but they can't talk about it because they don't know that they share the same interest. It's just interesting to see that they have this breakdown in communication, um, and it's just it's a heartwarming story about like fathers and choices and history repeating itself, and all wrapped around this terrible, terrifying, ghoulish monster. Um, so
Very minor way of I think what you're saying. My son is as I've mentioned on here three. I would say I have a very good relationship with him. I'm very excited to see him. He's very excited to see me. But I will say that the things that annoy me most that he does are things that he gets like directly from me. And then it's
100%.
it's the same with my wife and my daughter, where she is driven nuts by some of the things that that my daughter does, and we both have to kind of stop and say, oh, you're saying he's not very good at paying attention and he loses track of things and he doesn't. Who does that sound like? Just
Yeah.
and then when my daughter is running high anxiety and she's asking lots of questions and she's like like won't just sort of like get off a topic and just like, oh, she's inquisitive and anxious and has like lots of what does that sound like? So this idea that no matter what we do, no matter how sort of we may go to our differences, some things are sort of innate there, and even if there's this breakdown, you know there's this common thread running there between the father and son character, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it just rings true. I mean, and like you said, I did the same thing with my son. There are things that just drive me crazy, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like they both can be like incredibly stubborn, and like that. Yeah, I see me and I don't like it. So, uh, but yeah, there is a trade for this series that collects all. It was 6 issues digitally that came
Okay.
out, and then Dark Horse did. They printed 3 issues of it. Each issue was 2 issues worth
Okay.
of the content. So there were three physical copies or 3 issues in print from Dark Horse, and then there's a one trade. So yeah, as a film, not a, I don't want to call myself a film buff, but just someone who loves that era. I like that you know, it harkens back to that time, and I like the way it's presented. There's scenes where you're seeing I don't know, I mean, a non spoilerish one, but well, here's what the ghoul looks like, but you get the
And
pages of
this
the
is the
real.
movie version of the
This is
ghoul,
the
I assume.
real, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's you get the real the film that was burned in the
Yeah.
fire,
I
so
was
like
gonna
the
say I can
lost
see the
seed, you see it
yeah.
melting, like yeah. So I love the way it's presented, the overall tone, and the ghoul is a creepy looking uh monster. So yeah, but I
But
thoroughly
wrapped
enjoyed it.
up in 6, felt like it had a concrete ending.
Um, yes, but like
Okay.
all good horror, there's a mm,
There's
so
an out if it turns out the ghoul is
yeah,
this year's Art the Clown
right.
and Terrifier 2 needs to come around.
Exactly. Yeah. Which
Um,
I don't think that they're going to revisit this, but I
okay.
like that it kind of ends with that mystery
So
there.
who would you say this book is for? Who's going to get the most out of this?
I mean, I think anybody who's a fan of like Universal monsters, I feel like if you this season comes around and like me, I usually watch the original Frankenstein. I'll watch. I'm kind of weird, but I'll put the original Frankenstein on the Boris Karloff as like a comfort watch. Like I don't find it to be it's dated, but at the time it was this terrifying, horrible monster, and I just like I'm gonna go to sleep while watching this movie. This is just relaxing. But yeah, if you like those type of movies, this book speaks to you because it's at the heart the main character again. Names I didn't double check the names on this one, but he's like a film buff, film historian, so he is just very interested in old Hollywood and like legends and lore of the movie. And yeah, so I think if you like those type of movies, you'll like this comic.
Have you ever read the comic by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips called The Fade Out?
No,
You should you
I,
should check that out.
I actually have the first issue, but I never read it because I was like, oh, I need to get the other ones, and then I just never did. But yeah, it just and I knew nothing about the book. I just saw it. I was like, it seems like a book I would like.
It's it's not a spooky season read, so you probably
Yeah,
got about 2 weeks or so before you can read it. But yeah, what you're describing
yeah.
is Fade Out to a T.
Yeah, because I think the first cover it had some like allusion to like
Oh,
a
all
film
of them,
camera and like
yeah,
yeah
all of
yeah
them do.
I forget what's on the cover, but like it just I was like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I want to read it, and I just haven't.
Yeah, if it turns out you like it, the hardcover of that is long since out of print, but
Yeah,
they have a bunch of soft cover. They've got a
yeah,
compendium, all 12 issues. But that's not what we're here to talk about. That's
yeah.
not a spooky book.
Not spooky enough. Yeah.
But what is spooky is my next book.
No.
So I think universally, when people ask for like sort of a hidden gem and specifically a horror hidden gem, there's one book I personally think of first, and it's got a lot of things that I love. It was a Vertigo title, which back in the day, Vertigo was like my jam. Like when I had a pull list in the mid 2000s, like if a new Vertigo title came out, like it was at least issue one was on my pull. Like I was trying
Mhm.
everything that came out. Vertigo is a super special place in my heart. This book is kind of the last vestiges of Vertigo before the title folded. It's one of the few books I know of that this writer, who's a particularly popular writer, did that had some degree of creator own and control, and that is Clean Room.
Ooh.
So this is by Gail Simone of many, many famous things,
Yeah.
currently writing Uncanny X-Men. And the first, I think the first 12 issues, at least the first 10 issues, are by John Davis Hunt. And this is going to be a body horror comic that basically tells the story of, hey, you know Scientology, and you know how like they're a bunch of like crazy, like weird cult that are super aggressive towards their own members, and they believe in some really wacky things. What if actually they were right? And not just what if they were right, but they were actually the ones that were helping safeguard our world against these unseen forces, but also they were still Scientology and a creepy cult and everything that's going there. Um,
Yeah.
it's so basically the whole idea is that there are sort of these unseen malevolent forces beyond our comprehension that can come in and threaten to sort of shape human existence. So we see, and only certain people can sort of view what they are. So, for instance, we see Astrid Muller, little girl at the beginning. She's walking along there, and she ends up dropping her bear into the street, and the this truck driver is infected with something, shall we say, that causes him to not have a whole lot of regard for the road. And instead of just being sort of a casual accident, Astrid sees the truck like this. And there's a connection where it's only those sort of who have been close to death get to know sort of the true secrets of the world. So that little girl goes on to start basically this cult that is the stand-in for it. We get another character who goes and tries to unalive herself after her boyfriend, or I guess fiance, joined this cult and was mysteriously he was a journalist who was going to investigate, ended up joining it and ended up getting out. And you get just all throughout in her investigation after she survives and decides, you know what, I'm not going to let them do this to me. I'm going to investigate this. She ends up finding out basically about the world beyond. And by her having that near-death experience, she can now see those forces that are there. And what follows are some real creepy uh, body horror images, all the while sort of this how much is this cult that's going here that's being led by Astrid? How much are the Scientologists? Are they actually the good guys? How much, are they actually causing the problems themselves? All the while, you get some of just the most intensely creepy images I've ever seen in a comic. There is, I mean, this is not even particularly creepy, but like, for instance, she's in investigating this thing, and just while this is happening, our sort of ride along character sees this, sort of there. And you can see down like in here, it's just that character sitting on there.
Yeah.
unbeknownst to her that this thing is there. I want to say it's issue 6. There is a uh, there is a pony character, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
And it is maybe the single most horrifying image that I have seen in a comic, and it
Ye-
really does body horror. The artist on that, super clean, direct lines. He actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Martin Marazzo,
mhm.
who
Yeah.
is pictured right behind me and does Ice Cream Man. Kind of a similar
Currently
style.
the Superman, the Kryptonite
Yep, yep,
Spectrum. Yeah.
yep, same thing. But yeah, this book, it went for 18 issues. Like I said, it was 2015 Vertigo, so it was the last era for that. It did come out with 3 trades. They're a little bit harder to find. I have all the single
Yeah.
issues from that. I think those are probably easier to find than the trades at this point. Not that I think the trades are that hard, but it's a super captivating read. It's one of those things that no one's really the good guy. It's just the lesser of two evils. And this particular one, I do feel like Gail probably had a longer story she wanted to tell. It feels like by the time you get to issue 18 that it's wrapping up a little faster than she wanted to.
Yeah.
You get some cool scenes, but I think I don't know that they were necessarily earned, but they were things in her long-term plan that she kind of had to sort of push up there.
Yeah.
But
Had to put like issue 24 stuff into issue 18 or whatever it
yeah,
is now. Like, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like she had like blueprints for the series, and like if I get to go here, then I can connect this here, and then it's looking like at the beginning. I don't know what the sales numbers were, but you know, it feels like she was like, okay, I got a little bit more runway. I can do this. I can flesh this out a little bit. And then sort of the third arc, she's like, okay, I gotta
I gotta
rush this stuff
wrap
in
it
to
up.
get all of that going.
Yeah.
And she even said, like in the letter in the back of issue 18, it even mentioned like it makes it clear that like this is supposed to be the end of season 1. I think she
Of
even uses those exact words of clean room. And then I don't know if it's because of the closure of Vertigo or what, but we never got anything more than those particular issues from that. So unfortunately, we haven't got to see any clean room and Vertigo because it was kind of a little creator owned. I think the rights are a little bit messy there as
yeah,
far as
that's
who
what I was
has
gonna.
what. So it unfortunately is not something that we've seen, like nothing really has come from that. I'm hopeful that with the recent announcement, that we will be getting more clean room coming in the future. I'm not hopeful, but now that they've announced that the Vertigo line is coming back, it stands to reason that we
It,
could. Yeah, as far as who this book is for, I would say if you like a good cult story, uh, if if you like body horror, and I gotta stress that, if you are someone that is put off by body horror, don't even pick up this book.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can kind of get through. There's going to be some things that you'll like flip and you'll be like, nope, nope,
Pass.
not doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
possibly the creepiest thing that in the description, your description of the series is like, what if the Scientologists are right? I was like, oh, that is incredibly unnerving.
Tom
So,
Cruise this whole time has been the reason that Earth is safe, or at least
yeah,
whatever degree of safe it is currently in. Yeah.
that feels like a Night of the Ghoul situation where like there's movie things happening. He's saving the world in the movies, and then there's like he's maybe saving the world in real life. Like, yes, it's
So
the blurred lines.
yeah, you actually you do get some of that where Astrid, as sort of the leader of this cult, is having to sort of coordinate the lives and projects of different people where, some of her higher up people are actors, they're influential people, and she's needing to sort of force them to do this project. She's needing to, sweep this scandal away from that person. She's needing to put them in there. And so you see her very much in the role of puppet master, not a particularly kind, gentle guiding hand in order to
Yeah.
do this, but how much of that is she doing in order to sort of get them in the position that they need to be in order to fight these things?
All right. So down to my last choice.
All right, and
Now
I'm 0 for 2 as far as reading, having read these. So I gotta
I,
I'm crossing my fingers that I'm making this up on the last one.
I don't think you've not read this one. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you have not read this, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. All right. So it's by two creators that I really, really enjoy. Um, let's see. Well, I'm just gonna say it. So the writer is Matt Wagner,
Okay.
and the artist is Kelly Jones, and it is their Dracula series of books. They have done these. There's two volumes out now, and they are currently funding the third volume.
That's a
Now,
super cool cover. Imagine having a cover from that series.
yeah, imagine,
Just imagine.
imagine what that would be like. Just imagine. It would be an amazing thing. Um, yeah, that was the other book that I have art from. And actually, that's the only art that's really available from this series because Kelly Jones is the one who notoriously keeps all of his art. So, and it's
Which
there, it's out there.
I
But yeah,
can't blame him for. I mean, like
yeah,
Kelly Jones is one of the classics of the medium.
yeah. And here's the thing. So I first was made aware of Kelly Jones through his like Batman covers during
Hmm.
like the Nightfall era, and at the time, I was this stupid teenager. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that style. I don't like
His ears are too long and his
yeah.
cape
I just
is
like,
too gnarled and
oh, yeah.
pointy. And
It was like not what I thought a comic book should look like. And if anything should tell you what good comic book art is, it's what teenagers think comic books shouldn't look like. Because yeah, at the time I was like, I like
teenagers
the
notoriously known
yeah.
for their great opinions.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that's over time, I was like, oh, I actually really like that. It's really good. Still not my favorite take on Batman, his art, but in this series, it is a perfect marriage of like subject matter and his style, and it's the. I mean, not that I've read a whole lot of Kelly Jones' work, but to me, it's the his like definitive work because it's just such beautiful art. I mean, it's just a perfect marriage of and Matt Wagner. Love his take on the character. The idea is that each volume is like a separate stage of this Dracula's life. So in the first volume, you meet
When
Vlad
you
the
say this
Impaler.
Dracula, okay, all right, that's what I
Yep,
was going to ask.
yep. So you meet him. It's a way to take all of the lore of Dracula and put it in one kind of cohesive narrative. And so he starts out. That's you see him on his conquest. He's Vlad the Impaler, this legendary, um, and then he eventually he goes to kind of gets recruited to go to this very mysterious place with along these other uh, kind of terrible people, violent people, and they are kind of drafted. Essentially, it's like they are it's Satan who has drafted them, collected them at this one location. He provides them with all the information that they would need to study the dark arts, the occult, all of these things. And he said you just have to commit to I think it was like 7 years. It was a 7 year training program to become Satan's next champion. Uh,
Just
but
you got to do your management trainee program,
yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah,
then you can be assistant to Satan and running a bed and breakfast.
but essentially that's
That's
what
an
it is.
Office
Like,
reference for all my Office fans out there.
so they have to commit to the 7 years. They can only exist in this compound. It's like kind of old castle. They have free reign of the castle, but they can't go outside. They're focused on their studies, and they're everything that they need to rise to the level that Satan wants them to is available to them. This is in like Satan's kind of stronghold castle, but you got
Yeah, we got a pentagram in the floor.
yeah, and there's a lot of there's some nudity and whatnot in this one, so it's not one that it's it doesn't shy away from some very adult oriented art, and but I love this first volume gets you from Vlad the Impaler to Dracula the vampire, and he spoiler alert, he, after the 7 years, he's the one that ascends to become the champion, and he's awarded all these powers. And at the end of the first volume, he still doesn't understand. He's kind of just granted the powers, and you move on to the second volume, and that deals with him uh, learning how to manage being, an immortal. And the second volume is called The Brides. So it's him, navigating being an immortal, and he does take numerous brides. So in the Dracula lore, there, his multiple wives is a thing, but in this, it tells you why he chooses the women that he chooses, and the mistakes that he makes along the way, and why he chooses more than one. And yeah, this one just came out. I think I got this in the mail maybe like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and
And are they coming out originally as these collected volumes, or is it coming out in like smaller versions and then coming out like that?
no, they're coming out as these. Like
Okay.
every so the third. So it's an October usually campaign in October, and then it gets delivered like a year later, essentially. So we just got the second volume, and the third campaign just kind of kicked off. So the third,
When you
the
say
Kickstarter,
campaign, are we talking like
the
Kickstarter
Kickstarter,
sort of
yeah,
thing?
yep,
Okay.
Kickstarter it's live now for the third one, and the third one's called The Count. So this gets into the point where I don't want to, but by the third volume, it'll be a familiar London setting. Up until then, it's more the history of the character navigating in Transylvania and all these things that he learns what he's capable of throughout the first two volumes. The first volume is him obtaining the powers. The second volume is him learning how to what he's capable of doing, and then the third volume is him kind of going out and kind of achieving his goal of conquest. So,
Has Matt Wagner said how many volumes he plans
yes.
on this being?
So there are originally 4 volumes is what he envisioned when he started the project, but the possibility of a fifth but that idea is not quite set. He might do it, he might not. We'll see where they go, but four for sure.
Okay. All right. And like obviously Dracula's a like he's a spooky guy. Like, he's one of the classic Halloween guys. Vampires are sort of, a Halloween staple. Is this book just sort of generally spooky because of vampires and Dracula, or is it, obviously we have some occult themes that are going there. Vlad, he's got it right in his name, Impaler. He's not a nice guy. Like, what is is this more than just sort of vampires equal spooky?
It's well, you have. I mean, the art that comes across. There's some
Oh,
very,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
So it's some spooky art, but a lot of it is also the reaction to Dracula. The townspeople, the him preying on especially when he was learning how to sustain his life, and then when he takes on brides in the second volume, how to sustain them, how to obtain the blood needed to sustain them. So there's a lot of creepy aspects of the people that they interact with. But yeah, especially the first one is just more about this creepy setting, the Satan's kind of lair essentially is what it is, and all of the creepy things that happen within there. And there's some backstabbing because there's I forget who it is. I think it's 4 people who are kind of on the training program. Uh, and there's some how they interact with each other. There's no set rules. They have to, they can't help each. Well, there are the only rules they can't help each other or hinder each other in any way. But that doesn't mean that they all get along. So there's some interactions there. There's some creepy things that happen within that setting.
So obviously this is set before sort of the novel and the
Mhm.
characters that we generally think of, so we don't have, Van Helsing yet, we don't have Mina,
Right.
so this is a lot of sort of the pre-mythology that sort of is the wider Dracula that's going there. And
Yeah, I would imagine in the third volume. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they tackle that because you don't just want like a rehash of things that we've seen before. But I do like that so far it's taking it and having it it's the taking this one character and having one narrative that shows the entire lifespan of the character.
Yeah, it's almost like he's doing like a biography
Of
of
right. And I think it's like borrowing from here and there, like different bits of things that have come in the past, while also doing, his own original thing. But yeah, it's I really so far the first volume I enjoyed much more than the second volume. I enjoyed the second volume, and maybe it is time. I mean, I've read the first volume multiple times, and I just kind of read the second one, like I said, just
mm,
like about a week ago, and I'll read it again. But yeah, I'm eagerly as soon as the third campaign went live, I backed that one, so I'm on board, and I'll get all four. And I think eventually, I do think. I want to say Dark Horse may have put out an edition of this story as well. I kind of wasn't paying attention because I had the book, but I think there was a print version available to comic shops.
okay. And then I guess lastly, you know, outside of just the star power that you have on the title between Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones, but who would you say outside of yourself this comic is for?
Um, I mean, anybody if you like a classic. I mean, Dracula is if you. I mean, vampires are going to be interest you. Like that's there. But like anybody who likes reading about the occult type things, it's there is some gruesome action in this one because he's not shy. They're not shy about hiding the violence in this. Um, very gory. So if that's your cup of tea. You will like this one. So.
All right. If you like Matt Wagner, Kelly Jones, and you like a good cup of blood,
Yeah,
check
I
it
mean,
out.
if you're a fan of the 90s, like the stuff that I was like, that's when I first was introduced to both those creators. And I love that you get the chances, you see them having fun. They're just having fun with this property, and it's a passion project. I think it's in the foreword of I think the first volume, where it's something they've talked about doing, and they're finally able to do it. It's like two kids just having fun playing with the character. So I love seeing it.
Nice. Nice. Very cool.
All right, so let's go further down the rabbit hole of to bunk obscurity. So what do you got?
Okay. So we're doing this in some multiple parts. We got some props here. So I mentioned before that horror used to be a super popular genre. You look at a lot of the EC comics. You look, Tales from the Crypt. A lot of those different ones. Those were some of the most popular comics that were coming out at the time. Comic Code of Authority comes in, basically slashes every genre that's not superhero for a while. You get romance comics, you get some things that were sort of deemed to be publicly appropriate, but the Comics Code of Authority does kill broadly a lot of those wider genres of comics, and we see a lot of sort of degradation, and we see a lot of sort of going in, and we get narrow focus. Over time, as we see the code being lifted, or more and more comic companies just not caring about that, we start to get on out of there. And we're having this modern revival of horror comics that are going on right now. One of the books I personally think that sort of helped kickstart this modern wave of horror comics, and I'm sure there'll be other people who say like, "Oh, well, you got to look at this, you got to look at that." Totally fair. But when I think of some of the more mainstream horror comics that were sort of getting enough popularity to sort of push, that tell publishers that, hey, this is something there's an appetite for, uh, was this particular comic called 30 Days of Night. Not only was this a popular comic series, this was then adapted into a horror movie with Josh Hartnett of all people. Uh, why, yes, this one is
There's
autographed
some
and
art.
remarked on
Yeah.
this
So
as
you
I
do
throw it
have some art from that series.
onto the ground.
Yeah.
Well, we're not talking about that one
Oh,
because, like I said, that's
I was
people
like,
know
yeah. I
about
was like,
that.
I was like, I've heard of that one. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. But one of the things that I think makes that book so effective is the really sort of moody, creepy art that Ben Temple Smith supplies. And I think a lot of people know Ben from that series and don't really think about the rest of his stuff. But he's had a really long career from there, and he's actually done the majority of his work uh, as as a cartoonist, where he is writing and drawing, and he's continued to do so now for years, self-publishing. He's done some really cool stuff that I've really enjoyed, including one that came out a few years back called The Original Hate, where this is basically a eco Neanderthal action horror movie. He came out. This was self-published. Came out in three of sort of these perfect bound editions right here. Oh, why? Yes, I do have this signed and remarked
Oh,
there
look at that.
with that little guy there. Um, I when I read this as like a as an action horror movie. I hear a soundtrack in the back.
Mm.
Um, I really, really like this book, but this is not what we're talking about.
Yeah, why would we talk about that one? Yeah.
Why wouldn't we talk about that
Yeah.
one? Instead, we are going to talk about one of the books that I think really sort of set him off, and I think might have been his first return to pure horror after 30 Days of Night, and one that actually touches on a universal monster archetype that we haven't gone over here, and that is Welcome to Hoxford.
Mm.
Oh, yes, this is signed and remarked.
Look.
Yeah,
There's
yes.
more. Yeah, yeah, a little bit on there.
Yeah. So
Nice.
this particular book tells the story of basically the most depraved, criminally insane prisoners that are basically the U.S. prison system is all too happy to get these guys off their books. And they end up in a sort of don't ask questions deal, sending them off to this this private prison company that has rates that are far less than they're charging to house these prisoners. And they're not asking too many questions.
Hmm.
First off, if anyone wants to check out this book, it's dark. You need to be aware that like there are not good people in this book. Like everyone in here is a bad guy. Even the quote unquote like the good guy is a
Yes.
bad guy. So we're talking like very not just flawed individual, but like basically everyone who's in here is some degree of evil. We're talking like real bad characters. So I need to preface that
Yeah.
beforehand. But they end up being taken off and going into this private prison where maybe it turns out the those characters aren't on the up and up. Maybe this is not actually a private prison that's being put on there for the benefit of housing these prisoners, but is in fact being run by this ancient sect of werewolves that have come in and sort of over the years have through their networks remaining in the past have purchased private prisons like these all over the world, acquired the type of people that society will not miss, so that when the moon is full, they can put on their own private hunt.
Mm.
And what this ends up being is very much a sort of, we're locked in here with the monster kind of story about these deranged prisoners and these scheming werewolf horrors. Like not we're not talking like your classic I mean, again, if you look at sort of what that
That
is,
yeah, that's
they
an
have
example of.
they have this very, very sort of bestial look about them where it's almost their heads are sort of skeletal. It's like their design is a little bit bat-like. Like we look here and we see just this brutal action, and you look at just sort
Ooh,
of the as we're if I can there we go. You like
yeah,
look at that mouth and you look at
yeah.
that mouth. Like that's not sort
That's
of your classic wolf canine. It's part of what does this for me is just the sort of the design that goes about it. But it's
yeah,
very much a we're locked in here with them situation. Um, our ride along main character is someone who's never found himself in society. He's always been an outsider. He's never been able to sort of understand the urges that he has. And it's within this place that for the first time he sort of feels like he belongs. And yeah, and then within that, it's also we see, some power dynamic fights between the werewolves. Within the prisoners who were there, we see some fights and some shifts. There is a civilian who is trying to investigate this that ends up getting stuck within there. That is seen as sort of fresh meat on both sides, and
yeah,
it ends up being just this really creepy monster movie, basically, that ends up in just some really over the top action sequences at the end. Ben's doing everything on here. He's writing it, he's drawing it. Everything he does sort of pencils, inks, and then he does a first layer of watercolors. And then from there, he goes in and sort of like digitally changes them up. So you can see we get
yeah,
a lot of sort of these gray and blue tones, where the
yeah.
gray we get sort of a lot of the prison, the banal tones, but then we get our sort of shadows, our cool tones that are sort of mixing in and going with that. It's brutal. It's claustrophobic. It's an all-out war between these two phases that you as the reader, it almost feels like you're trapped in there with them, and you
Yeah.
almost have your own sense of hopelessness just faced against both of these forces. It's a cool read.
That's cool. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I like when again, a horror, creepy. It's all about the tone and like what
yeah,
you how you feel when you're reading it, and if you kind of to have Ben put you in that situation, not literally, but like you feel like the what's going on. That yeah, that's what you want.
yeah. So this is definitely a visceral one. If you end up getting, it's only 4 issues, tells the story, tells the story completely. This came out in like 2007, 2000, 2009.
Yeah.
So it's Ben's never returned to this, so he's
Got it out
this
of his
is
system. Like he, like
yeah,
that was my, yeah, I did that.
it's the kind of thing that theoretically he could come back for, but
Yeah.
it hasn't happened since then. I don't imagine it has happened. There was a French company that actually did a short film adaptation of it,
Oh yeah.
that you can find, that's actually like really neat from it. But for me, the big thing from this is the design of the werewolves themselves.
Yeah.
We've gone through different phases of werewolves where we've gotten sort of like sexy werewolves. We've gotten, with, between Twilight and sort of, like the more anthropomorphic furry designs becoming more and more mainstream. We get a lot of like sort of like sexy wolfmen going on.
Yeah.
This brings it back to their sort of bestial origins, and even from there adds almost sort of like a demonic, like unknown, the great unknown, deep past that goes with it. That just really goes home for me. That in
Yeah.
a way
I
that
like
sort
that.
of like your sexy, big, like muscle bound, like clad with scabbards and all of these things
Yeah.
you don't get with that. Like these
Yeah.
are primal forces from an ancient Earth.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's how it should be. It's like an unpleasant thing to be a werewolf, like so. Yeah, you want it to be this like I like when when the body like kind of morphs and it's this painful process of becoming the wolf and like
And
that's
yeah, and he leans into that a lot. So you do
yeah
get some of that body horror where you get like half a face where it's like still in the process of that human, and it's like the jaws
It is.
breaking over here, and you see
Yeah.
like the distorted, or like the same thing with like the hands where it's you. I mean, like you can tell they're going in directions, and it's sort of like
Yeah.
breaking as it's going on.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
yeah. So, welcome to Hoxford. If you're looking for a little bit more of that sort of slasher, visceral monster movie type vibe this Halloween, this is one that I would say
Cool.
is it's a quick read, and it's a lot of fun.
I like it. You're
Well,
speaking
I
to
don't
you're
know if
speaking to
fun
me.
is the word, but
I know.
it'll
Yeah,
scratch that itch.
that's what I was like talking about the deviant. I was like, I really enjoyed it. I was like, I don't know about if that's the right word, but at the end of the day, these are stories that we would go back and revisit, so we enjoy them on some level. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. All of these are ones that I've read at least once and have read another time. I've never done a second full read through of Harrow
yeah,
County, just because it's longer than these
yeah. That's
other
a
ones. But
yeah,
yeah, like Clean Room is one I read every few years. Welcome to Hoxford is one that I can just like pick up and just kind of go
breeze
through.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. I like it. I really like it. And then again, not familiar with. I mean, I heard of the first, but like not on my radar at all. Those, especially the last two. Nope,
you're
never heard.
you're telling me Original Hate wasn't on your radar? You
Yeah,
weren't
yeah.
Neanderthal eco horror?
I have no shame in saying there are so many blind spots in my comics knowledge, but yeah, which is just great. It's just comics I haven't discovered yet. So
Yeah, like I said, I I would wager a very large amount of money that the people watching this will have not heard of either of these
yeah,
books.
yeah. But that's hey, I mean, honestly, Bunk, like that's that's why I turn to you for this stuff. Like you have read things that
Well, I
I had
mean,
no clue. Yeah,
if we all were just recommending the same books we've all read,
yeah.
like there wouldn't really be a purpose of this. Again, like when I said going into this, you don't need me to tell you that Alan Moore Swamp Thing is
It
really
is
good.
yeah to read that. Yeah,
Even if someone hasn't read it, if you are somehow watching this, you already know that information. Me telling you how good it is isn't doing you much good there.
yeah. That's what I tried to do. That I tried to do the same thing. Is pick some things that would be, I think, pretty universally uh,
Universally,
appealing. Yeah. But yeah, like the Night of the Ghoul stuff, I think was the Amazon stuff. It came and went. Like even like We Have Demons, which is like Snyder and Capullo, not a lot of attention. I mean, there are those that read it and enjoyed it, but it I don't know if it was just the distribution model or what it was, but
I,
I don't think
I think
enough.
the distribution model definitely had a lot to do with that because
Yeah.
that was at the same time that I think not Remender Mark Miller signed his deal with Netflix where
Yeah.
they were kind of like pumping out comics as idea farms so that way they could have first crack at it. But the that was the same time that we had the Jock book. It was Jock and Jeff Lemire. It was like Snow Angel, Snow Demon, Snow
Oh,
Devil or something.
yeah. I
It
don't.
was
Yeah, it's not.
but a
Yeah.
lot of sort of top name talent, but there were so many things coming out in digital first avenues that sort of then quietly trickled onto comics, shelves that it sort of got passed by and people were like, oh yeah, I kind of remember when that came out.
Yeah, and I still, I mean, I would love, I mean, like talking about We Have Demons, like I enjoyed that. It was essentially it was a idea farm type thing. It was a uh, three issue, but I think it was I forget if that was the same thing. If it was like six issues and then three in print, but yeah, like it was a volume one kind of thing. It
Hmm.
set up this world and it opened the door for future stories, and that's one that definitely felt like. Night of the Ghoul is like it could exist on its own. We Have Demons was one that just really set it up as like this, okay, now this is volume one, and there's been nothing since. And I don't know if that's the same type of thing, if it gets kind of lost or not locked up in rights type thing because it is creator owned. But I don't know what the deal is with Snyder in Amazon. If there was like a I don't know. I don't know how much of it he owns. So but I'd love to see more
Yeah,
of that.
I feel like he's probably a little busy right now with this whole
It's
printing money thing in the Absolute Universe to
yeah. I don't think that's yeah exactly. So it's not happening, but.
yeah, bummer. But
Yeah.
Anyway, those were the six spooky comics that we came here to talk about. For anyone who is still listening with us, we'd love to hear down in the comments. Have you read any of these? If so, what have you read? What were your feelings? Did you hear us talk about a book that you read and you were like, "I'm sorry, you like that book?" Like, talk to us about that. Or are there comics that we think should have been highlighted, for whatever reason that we have not talked about during this time that you want to shout out? Please, anything that you have, let us know down below. But that is going to take us to our parent corner. Of course, we are the Tired Dads Comic Club. You don't need to be a dad in order to hang out with us here. You just need to love comics and be tired. But we are dads, and we like talking about dad stuff. So this segment right here is where we get to just talk a little bit about, bring some kind of story from our dadding, something that struck us just kind of real fun recently. So, Carl, any particular dad moments or parenting moments that stick out in your mind over the last however long since we did this?
Yeah. So my in the meantime, well, since we last talked, my son had a birthday, and actually no, I forget. Well, whatever. So when my son turned 6, he got some Lego sets. He has been just obsessed with Lego. Last Christmas, I gave them I had been saving Lego. I've been buying Lego for so long, and I just was like random bits every year, like Black Friday, Walmart and other sites would have like this just a box of Lego pieces, and I was like, oh, that's just not connected to like a specific kit model, whatever, just random Lego pieces. So I would buy them. I had them, stashed aside. So then one Christmas, I just took them all, opened them all up, dumped them into a bin, and gave to the kids for Christmas, and just to let them build whatever. And it's sat there. There was interest, but then
Hmm.
it just within the past like month or so, it has clicked with my son. Like he is really obsessed with building stuff in Lego, and it's awesome. It's awesome to watch. Now, because I also have acquired Lego sets over the years, when we were getting the Halloween decorations out, there were a couple. There was like a Harry Potter set with like a Thestral from the Fantastic Beasts movie, but it was just like a good like uh, you know carriage and a horse, like the skeletal horse, and just a fun kind of creepy looking set. And but he built that. He loved it. And I was like, I need to figure out how to use this to my benefit. So I have a bunch of things that he can build, but we're trying to do like a reward system type thing. In the past, I talked about how he always ends up in our bed every night, even though he bought him a new loft bed for his birthday. So we're trying to think like maybe if he could like earn stickers to then earn a Lego set that I just happen to have in the basement anyway. So it's not like I need to go out and buy many more things. I can just go to the basement and say, okay, yeah, here, put this together. So yeah, but it's just been so fun to watch that, like the spark in his mind to go off and just make these. And he's made some like really cool things. Like he was recently also really obsessed with the Titanic. Like he got a book at the book fair. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I don't know, it was weird. Um,
I mean,
he,
nutty things happen at the book fair,
yeah, but he
and
bought
nothing smells like the book fair.
you know. But there was a book. He was a book on the Titanic, and he picked it up and he read it, and well, not read it, but like looked through it, and
Hmm.
he became obsessed with like learning things about the Titanic. And he made like a little color. It was like black and red bricks with like a couple little like smokestack things on there. I was like, that is a 6-year-old version of a Lego Titanic that he built. So
Got a
like
little
it's just
little
really
one
cool.
there. That one's Billy Zane.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, this piece breaks off and it's a door. And, only one person can be on that one. But yeah, it's fun. Like it's a sense of pride. Like, oh, he loves it. My daughter likes it too. My daughter has built Lego sets. But it's he will go seek it out on his own and just start building things. And I love watching that happen. So definitely a moment of pride.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. That's super cool to be able to share that with him and kind of like see that moment where it's like you introduced something before and it didn't hit and now it's like clicking and you're like,
it's
there
like
we go. That was the reaction I was hoping for.
exactly. That's I like the idea of having things there to discover, and then he did. He discovered it. It was like his own. I gave it to them, for the holidays, but then it's on his own time. He discovered it and is now obsessed. So love it.
Nice. Very cool.
What about you? What's going on in the world of Bunk Dad?
So this one's a little bit of an older one. I've been holding on to this one for a while. So I just finished up coaching my daughter. So my daughter is 7. I coached her soccer team. This is actually the second time that I coached her soccer team. I did it back when she was like 3, which was not really like coaching. So this was like the first time I feel like I was really kind of like actually doing soccer coaching instead of just being like, okay, let's try and get the ball that way. But it was actually like working with the girls and being like, okay, let's not bunch. Like you want to go there. If you see your teammate with the ball, go towards the goal. Don't go towards the ball. You want to be there to be open, defense, move up, and like different things like that, which was really cool. And I was really proud of the girls, how it was just they got so much better as the season went on, and it was really cool, especially watching. I had one girl that in the first practice was so shy because she came in, she didn't get there right on time for practice. Like she was actually crying that first practice because she didn't know anyone. And by the end of it, she was there with everyone and hanging out. And it was like that with so many of them. But that's not the story.
Yeah.
The story of this is K-pop Demon Hunters,
Oh,
which has taken
I
over not just my kid's life, but like
mine.
every kid's life. Yeah. And one of my absolute favorite moments from the entire season was for our first doubleheader. We only had 3 teams in our league for this age group, so we had to do double headers sometimes where we play one team and then we played the other team right afterwards so that everyone got to play. And after the first game, we were like, okay, we got a little bit of a break, but we're going to be playing again. So like, go out, do whatever you want. One of them goes out, like they start, like one of them just started singing Golden, and then like the rest of them started like chiming in, and they got there. One of them goes out, gets their parents' phone, puts Golden on YouTube, and all of them together are there. They pull up the lyric video, and then we're going up, up, up. It's our moment, and just like in the middle of the soccer field while they're there, they are just all doing this in unison.
That's
And it was
great.
just like such a cool moment. It did not
Yeah,
distract from the soccer game at all. And it was just like, heck yeah. Like, no matter what else happens in soccer, like this moment has made it worth it.
that's great. And there are it's not rare, but like to have those things that are just shared by everyone. It doesn't happen as often anymore because entertainment is so
Mhm.
splintered and there's, you can find different shows, movies, wherever. But like this movie, like every kid is super into it. And I love that shared experience because they all know the songs. My daughter just in third grade they started a chorus. Like they can, there's a third grade chorus and they're doing one of the songs as part of their program. So it's everywhere, and yeah, that's awesome. That's super super cool.
I would imagine that Golden is a little too technically tough for third grade. Is it
Yeah,
the this is it this is what it sounds like? I feel like that you could do nothing but the truth
yeah. That's what it is.
now.
Yeah, I'm bad with names too, but yeah, that's the song.
Nothing but the
Yeah,
pain of who I am.
yep.
Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna
there you
say
go,
that.
Punk. You're joining the third grade chorus. My
I
daughter's
I
school.
mean,
You're there.
listen, so when my wife and I do get date nights, one of our favorite thing to do is go to karaoke,
Yeah.
and my daughter knows this, and so she actually like we were singing along at one point, and she was like, maybe next time you go to karaoke, you could sing that, and
Yeah.
I have had that thought as we've been singing Takedown and we've been looking at the lyric videos that this
Yeah.
would
Like
be kind of fun to just
I could
break out.
I could do this. Yeah. And like, much like every kid knows those songs, so many parents know those songs
Oh,
too.
oh,
Like
100. Yeah, I mean, like,
everyone knows them. So
yeah, I think honestly the challenge would be getting there before someone else went off and did that.
yeah.
But yeah, I think I think I could pull off Takedown pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's enough singing there that like you're not just trying to flex, but it's mostly sort of
Like a
like
rapish
speak.
kind of
Yeah.
like
So sweet,
spoken
so easy in
word.
the
Yeah.
eyes, but beauty
Yeah.
lives on the inside. Whole life spreading lies, baby, nice try.
And that's
I'm
what my
about to switch up the vibe. Yeah, and then because I see your real face, but it ugly is yeah, like so you get like a
she
little of each of those going on there. The only thing I'm worried about is there's enough Korean in there that I have to either just sort of and the or just like or I just have to learn Korean.
yeah,
So
or yeah, there you go. There you go.
yeah,
There's your answer. Learn Korean, Bunk.
yeah, yeah,
No.
absolutely. What am
Yeah.
I doing? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one that my daughter will request it over and over in the car because she wants to like try to learn the words.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, we haven't had the trying to learn the words, but yeah, it's one we do in the car a lot.
on repeat anyway. That's just
Oh yeah.
kids
Yeah.
like play it again, play it again. But then she is back there. She is trying to learn all the words. So
Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to finish off uh our little side tour into Kids Corner, which normally would take us to what's happening outside the world of comics for you. But I'm actually gonna make you put a pin in that.
okay,
First off, you still haven't seen Tron Ares, so
I know.
I feel like you don't quite have your opportunity to talk on that yet. But before we started, and really the whole reason for this, before we started, uh, I brought up this book right here, DCKO #1, which is a rare DC comic that that I picked up mostly because it had a wrestling cover by Daniel Warren Johnson, and I'm a stupid man who sees wrestling comics and buys them.
Yeah.
Uh, and my buddy Jake went to New York Comic Con. He knew that I was reading these, and he sent me a picture from the panel, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then he sent me a news story.
Oh,
I am going to send you a news story, and I mean I could tell you what's going to happen, but I think if you just see like the image, I think that's going to work better here.
wait, what?
Uh-huh.
What?
That's a real thing.
What? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Wait a second.
Carl, can you tell the people what you see on
I
that particular image?
the headline just says Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat to appear in DCKO along
Uh-huh.
with other characters, including
Now please
Vampirella.
scroll down to the image that's further in there.
Whoa. Okay, so I see Vampirella, I see
Mm-hmm.
Homelander,
Yep.
I
Yep.
see I haven't read the Beneath the Trees, but I see
Yep. That's
the
Samantha. Yep.
that's
By the way, that book is great. You
I
should
need
read Beneath
yeah
the Trees.
I have them. I'm embarrassed, but I do have them. I need to read them. And is that Annabelle, the horror,
That is Annabelle,
the
the
doll? Like
creepy doll. Yep.
yeah,
And also Red Sonja is
Bretonia.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So wait, what?
Uh-huh.
What's going on with this?
They're using the DCKO event to bring in some other characters.
I mean, it's just like like kind of like a DC Marvel, not Marvel, but like a crossover. They just like that kind of thing. They're just there for the event to be champions of different worlds, I guess. I'm taking like because I didn't read I bought the KO issue because I just wanted to flip through it and I was looking at it, but I haven't read it yet. So I know that there's going to be a champion by the end that is going to
Yeah, you can even if you haven't read DCKO #1, this
yeah
doesn't spoil anything because
yeah
it you don't end DC #1 and see these guys
right
going
yeah
here. But yeah, uh
that's that's wild. I mean, I would not have expected that. I mean, what's
yeah.
crazy like I mean, Mortal Kombat. did it have a comic? Has there been Mortal Kombat comics like recently? Like who even has those rights? Like how
Uh,
did they?
well, I mean, Warner Brothers owns
Oh,
Mortal Kombat,
that is
and
true.
Warner Brothers Discovery owns DC.
DC. So okay,
So
that makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, so that's a fairly easy, one that they're going in to do. In the article it talks about how Jim Lee has said he wanted to get Mortal Kombat characters in the comic space, but they never had until now.
I mean they've had like the DC and Mortal Kombat like video game and like so those characters have
Yeah,
interacted in other medium, but like
yeah.
yeah, that's
Uh, he revealed that Sub-Zero and other non-DC universe characters would be coming from a bonus level in February that pulled entities from other universes. Uh, didn't stop there. Snyder asked who doesn't want to see a Homelander fight Superman.
that's
And there
crazy.
might be
Like
some more after that, but those are the ones that are locked in, Lee
I,
said. So,
uh, which there's I mean they're not stopping there. There's gonna be more. I mean there's yeah, well, why not? I mean
I mean, Samantha from Beneath the Trees, like that's the one that's like, uh,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, I mean, Dynamite, like that's not like Dynamite character's not like a huge surprise. I mean, because they're doing
Well, Dynamite's
crossover
already
stuff like all the
licensing
time.
those characters,
Yeah,
so it's
right.
just like
Yeah,
an issue of
like
like someone else like licensing. Annabelle, I assume, is a Warner Brothers distribution, so again, that one's there.
probably. Yeah,
Um, Beneath the Trees is IDW. I don't know about
how
the
that.
like
Yeah,
the rights as far as like how much of the rights Patrick Horvath owns. But yeah,
that's wild. And I mean, I know that there's I'm trying to think. There's a reveal I know at the end of the issue that I don't know if we should spoil that one, which I don't really maybe want to do that. But like I knew that there was like gonna be things to come out of KO that were they didn't talk about pre-reveal or pre-release. So you kind of knew after it that there were going to be some crossover type things happening, but I did not suspect that they would be like making it this whole all these different universe characters. Um, and I wonder if they'll stick around. I mean, maybe I mean not like some of like the Beneath the Tree stuff, but like Sub-Zero. Will they pull
I
in like
I mean the way that it's there and the way that I read KO is that it's supposed to be sort of like a pocket universe thing that will exist for this and then like
and then
after the events of it'll sort of go away, which is how they're able to get these characters in clean.
yeah,
But I do imagine that this is sort of like testing the grounds
to
and
see
to your point, if it turns out this works out well, Sub-Zero's a hit, then like do we then see a Mortal Kombat comic coming in and having things going there?
yeah.
Um, the one thing that I am a little disappointed about is like, this is DCKO is it's a DC Comics event. I think it's 6 issues going. It's either 4 or 6.
I think it's actually
Okay,
four. Um,
but it doesn't. I thought I was getting the fights in here, and what they've said elsewise is the fights are happening in their own either specials um, like yeah, so I was like, okay, I can buy 4 comics even, at the higher price tag for this and get all of this, but it kind of seems like the only thing that's going to happen here is sort of the plot as far as the
right.
fights around them.
And
Like
like the
I'm
aftermath of the fights,
yeah,
like
like they
you're gonna get the cutscenes. This will be the cutscenes. Like instead of like the actual fighting, you get the story from like
yep.
Mortal Kombat or
Yeah, so for instance, they've said like DCKO Superman versus Captain Atom #1 and Aquaman 12 versus Hawkman. So
yeah,
it's going to be that kind of thing where there's going to be a whole bunch of different specials, some of which sound really cool. And they've got like really cool people writing them. We have John Layman from Chew who's doing one of them. We've got one that's Mark Waid and Christopher Cantwell that's going on. Joshua Williamson. We've got Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, Joel Jones, Jeremy Adams, Joshua Williamson. So it's not like,
yeah,
they're sort of treating these as a throwaway with, some writer that you've never heard of who, they're cutting their teeth with this. They're putting some of their top talent on these here. But that being said,
Yeah, I don't.
if it ends up being super cool, I will buy the inevitable omnibus that comes out that contains all of these in one.
But I don't.
Um,
I don't like when reading an Omni. Like I really, even if it makes sense, I don't like reading a book with like constantly changing art styles. Like I just, even though like I understand it, I understand like how this concept would work. You would have their own creative teams doing handling like the fights of whoever the characters are. But I don't know. I just it's takes me out of it a little bit when it's just constantly changing art styles.
would
You know,
you want to read some Jason Howard art from the fill-in
I
arc on Transformers?
I do like that. That sounds good.
Would you want to read some Mirka and Dolfo art?
I see where we're going with this,
Mirka,
and I'm
Mirka
about to
makes my heart go pitter patter.
eat my words. So yeah, that's I would.
Do you want to read Hayden Sherman,
That's what I was gonna say. Like because that was he doing.
Dustin Wynn?
Yeah, wait a minute. So Hayden Sherman was it Constantine and I
It's
saw there was
I don't know how much
there
we
was a
want to get into
solicit.
the matchups here,
Yeah.
but
Well,
one of the round ones will have Hayden Sherman doing the art on it.
yeah. Well, it's because I was confused with some of the since they have like the DC Marvel stuff going on as well, like the separate it's separate from KO, but like
Mhm.
but I know that Sherman was announced as a doing either a story or something.
Yeah, well, Hayden Sherman's doing a million comics right now, so
Right,
why
yeah,
not just add more of
one
that?
more, yeah.
Wins the
So
Eisner for for Absolute Wonder Woman and is
yeah,
still doing Dark Patterns, and then is also doing that other DC book or Dark Horse book.
yeah, into the Unbeing, I
Yeah,
think that
whatever
one.
that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
The
like
one
if
that
a
is on
writer
the yeah.
is doing 3 books at a time, you're like, wow, that's a lot. If an artist is doing three, you're like, are they
Insane.
okay?
And that their art is like traditional. I mean, it's not. They don't
Oh,
do.
as opposed to digital. Yeah, I was like, I
I'm
don't
sorry. I'm
know that
sorry.
I'd call Sherman's art traditional. Like
No, no,
Sherman's
no,
got a very,
no. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
ink on
physical. Yeah,
paper. Yeah.
yeah,
Because usually, because I mean, Dan Mora is able to do a lot of different things, but most of his art is digital art.
yeah.
So
And he said that, he likes to do physical when time permits. And
but
unfortunately, he's just
time
on so
does
many
not
projects.
permit.
He's like, it doesn't permit.
Yeah. So yeah. So for Sherman, I mean, that's amazing. So. I mean, Jorge Corona did it for a little bit. He was doing Transformers and Ain't No Grave, but yeah, but like I said,
Those
two
are two
titles is
books.
amazing. Two books, right? This is like how many? Yeah,
Yeah,
so
3 ongoings and adding on a fight special.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. But with that, that
yeah,
is going to take us to the end of our spooky evening. We've had some spooky talks. We've shared some spooky books. We've talked about some parenting fun stuff, and we've scratched our head at what is going on with DCKO. We've laughed, we've loved, we've learned, and that sounds like a pretty good evening to me.
yeah.
Carl,
Likewise.
tell the people what you got coming out soon.
Well, I unboxed some art. Some art that actually arrived, so I've got you know what? I'm gonna spoil one
We got
because
I was
why
gonna
not?
say any more pages from Moon is following us?
Not Moon is following us, but my other obsession in the Energon universe, some my boy Tom Riley. So some Duke and some Cobra Commander. It's action. Yeah, I received a package of art that
And
contained
Tom didn't draw this one on a bar napkin.
no. But one of the pages, the package contained multiple pages, but the one of the pages is actually drawn on an 11 by 14 board instead of 11 by 17. But yeah, because Tom Riley is known to draw on anything, and when he's meeting those deadlines, why go out to the store and buy more 11 by 17? Just keep drawing. So he just, I think half of G.I. Joe issue 6 was drawn on 11 by 14 board because that's what he had next to him.
Yeah.
So, what about you? You got anything in the works? The best of 2024? Is that still, it's like
Um,
that video, it needs to never happen. Like, you need to just always refer to it like that's coming, because I feel
I've
like that would be amazing.
no, I the problem is I still have all of those books that are going to be on it in my
Yeah.
stack over there,
So yeah, it needs to
and I
happen
can't put them away until I do that,
until
and I
all
would
right.
like to do that. So, um, I've thought about different ways to do it. I thought about doing like a live stream at one point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go live, and then I'm just gonna like I will turn this. I'll record it and I'll do that. So I've thought about some different things that I could do for it. Whatever happens, like when it does it, um, I, I'm basically just it's gonna be best comics of 2024 all vibes edition. And
Yeah.
so instead of doing my like normal like in-depth breakdown, it's just going to be like I like this book because
Yeah.
so I've thought about like one of the ideas I've had that like makes it fun and also sort of allows me to get this done faster is I give myself 30 seconds to talk about every book and it's a hard out. And if I
Ooh,
am not done talking about it and it like the clip will just cut wherever that 30 seconds, and then I'll just up next we have our number 9 book.
that would be amazing. And there's no way I would be able to do that because it would be like no and then next
Yeah.
up.
That being said, and I mean I realize that we've got like 2.5 months of the year left.
Yeah.
That is not one of my highest priorities. I'm finishing up my script for my Power Rangers reading order that I've been promising since 2023. I just need to edit my 5 comic characters I'd grab a drink with.
Nice.
So I'm in my classic trap where I have a whole bunch of things filmed. I just need to edit it.
It's the worst. Editing is it's like the
But
it's the you need the time to do it and you'd much rather be doing something way more
yeah,
fun.
100%. It's
Yeah.
it's that whole like I want to make something new. I don't want to refine something I've already made. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just put out my first short in a few years, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun,
It's
and it
fun.
was way
Yeah.
easier to do. So I may mess around with some more of those and just try and like get some more things out there. So we'll see how that
I
all
like
goes.
it. We all win when there's more bunk on the internet.
That is the old adage. That is
It's
is
what they
what
say. Yeah.
everyone always says. More bunk on the internet equals we all win. With that, we've been the Tired Dads, and I got some sleeping to do.
Yeah.
So, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around. It means the world to us. Like I said before, if you have read any of these books or they're ones that we haven't done, please drop it down below in the comments what you think of these. If there are any topics that you would like to do, since we generally arrange these sorts of chats around certain books of a theme that we bring there. If there's a certain theme that you'd love to see covered. We've talked aside from this about some different episodes that we're thinking. But if there's something you'd like to do and we think that'd be cool, please let us know. With that, we've been the Tired Dads Comic Club. You all have been amazing, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.
See ya.